Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is Araya Anra coming to you live from For the Love of Dragons, as I do every Tuesday. And wow, anybody feeling the energies wiping you out or feeling so up and down? We've had this going on for a while, right? It's been a tough year, and 2020 was the excitement of, wow, it's going to be the year of shift, it's going to be and when we're in the throes of it, that shift is hard, and there's a lot of information starting to come to light. So this is sort of what I wanted to bring in and touch on. And there's a lot of confusion, and I see it in emails, I see it in other videos, and I want to make sure, since we have so many new members in the group that may be listening, that as things surface, as information comes out about Draconian, reptilian beings that have actually been part of the influence of the negative on the planet for so long, that there's a real clarity in understanding what is dragon and what is draconian. Is there a crossover? Are they related? Do they have anything that would say a dragon is a draconian? And I want to make sure that everybody's very clear on that, because they are very different beings. They are very different lineages, and I don't want there to be any confusion for you guys out there. And I want you to have the tools, because there's lots of other schools of thought, there's lots of other practices and openings and new age belief systems and spiritual belief systems out there. And so this conversation might come up across different spheres that you're in, and to have you have some backup or some information in your pocket other than just a gut feeling that no, there's a difference, but I'm not sure what, so that you have some talking points to help other people realize the difference. So with that, just feeling the energies for today, you'll notice that I am in my purple. I'm feeling called. It's actually cool this morning. Here in the west of the United States, it's September, so we're going to start moving into fall weather, but unexpectedly it drops like 10 or 15 degrees really quickly. And so we had hot 100 degrees yesterday, and now this morning we're cool enough that it's almost noon, 11 o'clock, and I'm wearing a light sweatshirt. And bless them, in Colorado, they might get snow this week after having 90-degree weather. So feeling all of let's start with why I'm in the purple, why I'm feeling called to that, and why I have this beautiful guy behind me. This is the amethyst dragon, and this is the energies, the deep earth energies are coming up this week. And you're going to find that it's a very big energetic shift. So hello Queen Tamra, and hello Barbara. I saw a few people jump on. Good to see everybody. There's going to be an activation this week. It just came in 2 days ago. I sent the notice out to my Dragon Hearts yesterday, so you might feel it. Friday the 11th is going to be a big day. I knew that I had to align to that day, and it's a completion. It's a closure of 19 years ago, what happened here in the United States. That was a world-marking event energetically, right? With the fall of the towers. And there's something about the completion here, and it's not just that it's aligned to that. It's actually a different alignment, but coincides with that. And if you have 19 years and you break that down numerology-wise, it's a 1. So this is a new birth, a beginning, moving forward from that place. And it's also the marking of a new phase. I believe it's the eighth phase in the Mayan calendar, and thanks to Julie Appleby for a newsletter that had that information in it, because I don't follow that stuff specifically, but I love when I get information and then I start getting emails in the next few days that just keep confirming and confirming and confirming. So this is moving into the 8th cycle of the Mayan calendar, with the last 360 days being challenge, shift, growth, churning, moving it forward. And now we actually on Friday will open into the phase of advancement, of all new rebirthing, of the sprouting energy coming up and out. So with that, interestingly, part of the activation that's going to be happening is connecting with and into the deep earth dragons. There's some work that's going to be happening with them, with all the earth dragon lineages later on in the month around the equinox. But kicking this off and feeling the rising up of their connection to us and what they hold. And the amethyst dragon, and this is one of those canvas prints from the lair, one of the beautiful ones that's going to be in the oracle deck. That amethyst dragon holds similar to what you might imagine in 3D with the frequency of lavender, that soothing, calming, centering in and like, it gives a respite. It takes you into, well, with lavender, it can take you into such a relaxation that you're able to sleep more deeply if you have sleep challenges, right? So the amethyst dragon is going to come in on higher notes of that with an ability to ease and soothe the inner core and take you into a space to let you rest, to rest deeply, to rejuvenate so that you're ready for that sprouting, ready for that new growth. And so that's the energy that I'm being held in today, and I know what's coming in with my Dragon Heart group today as we go through our classwork and our meditation. But with that, I feel like that's present to allow you to have this sinking in of the information, because there is much coming as disclosure, and I've seen a lot of different things in different spaces about the Draconian, and we've known about them for a long time, but I don't think many of us knew that there was potentially actually a underground civilization of them here on the planet under Antarctica. And you can believe me or not on that, and you know, it's an energetic that I tune into, so whatever dimension that's in, I do feel the truth behind it. But that's always for you guys to feel into for yourselves. But knowing that we are moving into a shifting of that, a breaking apart of that, and their last-ditch efforts to really keep messing with us, keep control over us as we crack open and break free. So let's just be very clear on the difference. The Draconian is a reptilian. It is a very negative frequency being, I would say. I don't want to use the word negative positive because that keeps us in duality, but it is a more dense frequency. They are beings that come from a reptilian race, and they had a big hand in the takeover and the shifting of DNA on the planet and the control that it's been under for many, many eons. And the dragons, on the other hand, are an avian race. So if you were, and it was very interesting to me actually to have this scientifically given to me back, because I went to a discovery museum with my kids, and this was years ago, and they had a dinosaur exhibit visiting, and it was a big T-Rex named Sue, beautiful one out of South Dakota. And in the display, coming from the Natural History Museum, which is the main one in, I believe, Washington, D.C., part of the exhibit talked about how the dinosaurs were actually more closely related to all of the avian lines and not reptilian lines. So that doesn't mean all dinosaurs. There were, you know, specifically the crocodilian and those that are more reptile, but the predominant number, like even the T-Rex, were from an avian structure, genetically, and how they morphed and evolved, that they were more closely related to avians. And I'd always felt that about the dragons, and if you think about it, it makes sense. If you were to look at their bone structure, and I remember there being a great documentary done on this, I believe it was called The Last Dragon. I'd have to find it again. We talked about it a year or so ago, and it's a hypothesis and a display of what could have been possibly how the species actually worked on the planet in tandem with the dinosaurs. But if you look at their bone structure, their wings, the fact that they actually have wings, and the lightness of it in order to fly with such a large body, the bones were probably more hollow like birds, and the way that their digestive system works, it's just all more closely related to the avian species. So definitely two different bloodlines, two different frequency bands, two totally different lineages, and totally different intents. And when you connect with the two different kinds of beings, you'll be very clear energetically on one being a very dense frequency that wants to manipulate and control and feed off of you, and the other that is there to love, support, encourage, and heal. And so this is where you want to have talking points if you're in a discussion in whatever circles you're in of the dragons versus the draconians, because many people have looked at the constellation of Draco as, oh, it's a dragon. And so they associate, there's a word association that is hard for people to break down if that's all they've ever seen. And to be very, very clear that Draco is not, and maybe the constellation is the shape of a dragon, but there's a I don't know if etymology is the right word. There's a linguistic variation there that it's not actually accurate to be associating the word Draco with the dragon and the dragon lineages that, as I've explained many times, are the original beings that came to hold the space energetically for this place, for the entire grids and matrices of what needed to underlie geometrically the formation into matter, that they're the ones that volunteered in service to come and hold the space, because of their knowledge, their wisdom. They've been around for a long, long time. Because of the level of love they carry, they operate in the 22nd dimension or higher typically. Obviously coming down into these frameworks, they allowed themselves to densify. They allowed themselves to come into a lower density framework in order to be of service. So that being very, very different from the Draco energy that is even more dense and operating on a feeding type energy and a manipulation control type energy. So that's really the main points I wanted to give for you today. Because there's going to start being more and more disclosure over the next months, and as we keep moving through all this shift, we looked ahead at 2020 as the year of change, the year of yes, this is going to be it, this is the year. And truly, it's been a hard year, right? It's been like chaos, distraction, one after the other, to keep us in a space of feeling like we're spinning out of control. And really, I think that's why the Deep Earth Dragons, well, they have a deeper reason coming in, but I think why the Amethyst was speaking to me today in bringing us into and holding a space for us of, all right, soothe, calm, rejuvenate. Allow yourself to go into that faith, into that trust of we are being held. We are being guided forward. And I think it was 2 weeks ago when the visual came very clearly of this massive grouping as they've released their batons, some of them, of gathering of dragons that is holding the very back edges and just sort of scooping with their wings in a loving embrace to push humanity forward into this evolutionary shift, into this magnificent change that we're going through. And birthing is painful. Change is painful, but we will start to come out of it, and I feel like that's after this Friday when things will start very gently moving in a more positive direction into more awareness. Does that mean that we're done with some of the hard stuff? There's probably a few more surprises coming. There's probably a few more like last ditch, but we'll already be on the upward swing. We'll already be in that motion forward into where we're headed, into the new, and being able to embrace and flow into that. And so just keep the faith, keep holding your trust, and know that whatever assistance you need, just call it in. And if you're not sure what dragon, as I said, I think in my previous live, I wish I had the deck done. I'm actually this year so overwhelmed. I've got all the artwork, and I'm trying to find time to sit and actually bring through the information like that about one of the individual dragons, each one, so that I can then get it off to the printer and the designer and all that. So it is in the works, but unfortunately has its own birthing time. There must be divine reasoning behind that. What else? I feel like there's, I did want to bring out, because I love sharing things that are now in the lair, and these guys jumped out at me from the box. So sharing these beautiful, I know many of you know how powerful orgonite is to carry a frequency, and this line that I had is called Dragonite, and the creator of it created this line specifically for me because they actually have embedded within them the symbol of each of the dragons, and thus their frequency line, as well as me putting transmissions into them as they go. So we've got the Syrian, is one of the 3 Syrians. This is Mayerkan from Sirius A, and she holds that divine feminine. Isn't she beautiful? And look, I even so I've got purple eyes speaking to me. That must have been why she jumped. So there's that purple eyes associated with the amethyst. And then we've got the black and the white pairing, which right now the black and the white dragons are still very present with us because we're moving into union within. We've talked about that a lot in the last weeks as well. And that state of both halves coming together within us. But it's not just both halves, that there's so many levels to union. But in our most dense framework in human form, the black and the white are the ones that hold the frequencies to pull our and spiral our DNA back up into its state of union, along with the crystal. So wanted to come share those. Those guys are all waiting for their owners to claim them through the lair. And so I'm going to try and share different things each week so you guys can see hands-on what I have around me in my space. It's really fun because I've got incredible amounts of things all around now that are brightening up and lightening my space. So wishing you guys a wonderful week. Pay attention on Friday. I'm going to be doing an activation at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you know, if you tune in, you might just feel it. You might want to sit and meditate at that time and hold space like we do with other activations, or you might just pay attention and go, oh, wow, I'm feeling something. What is that? And then look at your calendar and realize that, oh, that's what she talked about. There's a big piece happening today. And it's another worldwide activation. It's one of the global spaces that has been on my list for a while. Not going to be able to get there directly, but have been shown now how to, after Mount Fuji was so successful, how to actually activate from a distance, and how powerful it still is to do that. So that's what we'll be doing Friday. So just pay attention energetically this whole week, what's unfolding. There's a big call. A lot of people are focused on the 9/9 tomorrow, 9/9/2020. But I think you're going to feel the most shift coming on Friday. Not just from what we're doing as Dragon Hearts. That is always a big field, but there's other pieces coming into play, and obviously with that Mayan calendar kicking into its next phase, I think it's going to be sort of a big day. And how nice that it will be leading into a weekend, so that many of you will be able to rest and just soak in and integrate all the energies that come in. So have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to sharing next week what went down, what came up for everybody, and keep moving forward. All right, we'll see you next time, guys. Have a good one. Bye.